Bandits out there, despite the plague.
There's no plague shield left.
None at all.
I'm sorry. There simply isn't any.
The castle. This tells me that your tavern will be a part of Loch Dyden for decades to come.
Last month you told me that the plague would take us all.
I know, but that's not what fate says anymore.
Damn it, Agarth. You're cut off.
Yeah. And I bet I know whose fault that is.
This is the Three Lamps. Plague's put my own grey in the healer's care, but we're open nonetheless.
Right then.
It's your fault that I can't pay my tab, you know? I wasn't ever supposed to come back here in the first place. I've spent the last 20 years knowing what fate had in store for me. And then you... Damn it. I thought I had my life figured out. Not for a Fate Weaver, it isn't. But that's just the problem. When I was young, I thought I could overcome anything. Now, I know otherwise. I fought beasts the size of trees, was celebrated by mortals and fae alike. When I was initiated into the Fate Weavers, I thought it was a reward for my good deeds. The first time I saw my own fate, I realized it was nothing but a curse. My own death, of course. But not a hero's death as I had always dreamed. I was going to die alone and unknown, killed by an Etin and used for stew. It was a terrible end, but I knew it was part of fate's greater plan. Then you came and changed that future. You stole my part in the tapestry. I was at peace with knowing the worst. But what do I do now that there's nothing to know? I don't doubt your intentions. Just realize that we Fate Weavers have long accepted that the reason for some things were beyond our understanding. Not everyone would trust your intentions or your foresight. Your freedom means living with a lot of responsibility. I can't help you with that, but maybe this will help lessen the other dangers you face. Take it with my thanks. Why, I once tracked the Yeth of Avgrun on a moonless night by smell alone. Fey or not, I could have tracked those Tuatha sober. They've set up in a cavern north of town, complete with some way of scrying your location. That's how they found you so easily. I have a plan, but it'll take the both of us to work. These soldiers were sent out with one purpose: finding you and making sure you stay dead. Everything else, the Well, Arden, Hughes, have all been collateral damage. They're using something big to track you. They call it the Eyes of Tirnoch. Smash it, and they won't be following you anymore. The main entrance is heavily guarded and will require a strong attack. The other route is trapped. It'll need a subtler approach. I don't have an answer for that. I can't imagine what about you made Gadflow send his troops across the continent. Straightforward and direct. A warrior after my own heart. I'll cover the back and make sure they can't escape to report back to whoever sent them here. Let's track down some trouble.
Now what can I do for you?
Right then.
How could a person's fate just change like that? This doesn't make any sense.
Such a lovely sight.
Half the village sit with this damn plague.
Hello?
We're under a plague here in Dyden Hill, I'm afraid. You may wish to carry on.
Hello?
Reisberg Arms and Armours, blacksmithing on premises. By making the craft hall, Cora settled a land dispute, a trade argument, and made herself queen of the market. Oh, it's Inga who's handy at the forge. She likes iron more than people. Iron. And me. So long.
Looking for a blacksmith. Forgive me. Blood plague, you know. A good smith is never out of work. Not in a troubled village this far into the She. I've got it, but not near as bad as some. Grey Gunner's laid up. So's that dear girl, Kareen. Cora brought us together. Now she and Olin can worry about strangers, and I can keep to my forge. That all?
Can I help you?
The militia's store of potions has been used up, and we lost our alchemist nearly a month ago. Now it's up to me to resupply reagents and brew the potions. Somehow. Our biggest problem is boggarts, and the best thing against them would be fire. So it's fire potions. Tinder twig and scarwood bark. They're out in Glendara Wood, but the wood's been far too dangerous for the likes of me. Makes sense, doesn't it? Wooden little things after all. You do seem the brave and heroic sort. Well, the village has a fund. Tinder twigs often in that cave-like pass south of the lake. And scarwood barks found by the ruins in northern Glendara Wood. Oleander Sinclair. Recognize the name? Left to gather herbs in Ironhold Passage some time ago. He never returned. Best thing against boggarts is flame. Old Oleander had a fine potion for that. I can manage a crude semblance thereof, when I've the proper reagents.
Can I help you?
My father's got the cough.
Why, Miss Saru, what is it you... Oh, hello. Did Thaddeus send you? Kester Barclay. My apologies. I don't mean to be rude. This crisis has me a bit on edge. Please, hurry.
This is the front entrance. You'll face their strongest guards, so it's no place for subtlety. Find their scrying mirror and smash it. I'll slip in the back and make sure none of them escape. I don't have an answer for that. I can't imagine what about you made Gadflow send his troops across the continent. His army is locked in a siege in Cluricon, but small groups sometimes make their way to Erithal. I don't think they've ever been this far inland. Just go inside and find those scrying mirrors. Don't worry, I'll be coming along to help. Thanks for giving an old man another chance. It's good to know I've got a future again. And even better not to know what it is. Whoever that Aelin Shear is, I don't think she's our enemy. If she wanted us dead, she could have killed us while we were weakened. But she's still trouble. Reminds me of a dark elf who left me half naked and tied to a bar guest once. Now those were the days. The immortals inscribed their knowledge of fate into the living stone. I always thought it was a poetic way of talking about the theater. But there it is, in your hands. Keep it close, child. The mine has a main entrance and an escape tunnel. The main one is heavily guarded, and the escape is heavily trapped. I saw them bringing barguests down in cages, probably still being trained. Turn the beasts free, and I bet they cause some chaos for you. We'll be attacking their camp from both sides. We can't have any of them escaping to report back. The Crystal War, they've been calling it. 10 years ago, the Winter Fae turned violent and attacked us in force, calling themselves the Tuatha Daon. They say it's their sacred duty to cleanse the mortals from their lands. Naturally, the humans and Alpha who live here aren't so happy with that plan. It's been going back and forth for years. Where there's war, there's soldiers nervous about their fate, and that's where I come in. Good luck. I'll see you inside. We're here. Not until you smash those mirrors. It'll keep them from tracking you all over Dalentarth. Good luck.
The undying mortal has grown tired of running, has he? Decided to fight back? Can you tell me the difference between a creature of nature and a child of dust like yourself? We children of nature know our roles. Meek and mighty, prey and predators, life and death, all serve the cycle. You children of dust do not know your place. You come into our land. You come to face your hunters. And you don't know when to die. You shall learn. In time, all mortals will know the might of Gadflow, blessed herald of the merciful Tyrnok. All mortals end, even if some are more persistent than others.
At least the Tuatha won't be able to track you so easily now. But it looks like you've got the personal attention of their king, Gadflow. If you were anyone else, I'd suggest you start running and not stop for a few years. But you might just have a chance. You're a mortal that survived death. You exist outside of fate. The Fae do not deal well with change, and you represent a threat to whatever has driven them to this war. And as much as I hate to say it, you'll need to take Aelin Shear up on her offer of help. The Codex of Destiny should hold some answers for you. For all I know, you already met with her at the House of Ballads, but it sounds like she's the only lead now. The Destiny Stone showed us the tapestry of fate, but your power must have consumed it all. Everything except the wisdom at its core, the Codex of Destiny. Gadflow is just some trumped-up Fae who started hearing voices, I gather. But a crazy with an army is still a threat, sure enough. We should be able to get out of this.
Proceed no farther, mortal. You are not one of our kind, and the seat of Sir Sagrel will never be occupied by one so mundane. Hallam the White prepares the contest, and he must not be interrupted at this, our time of greatest need. It is to fill an unoccupied seat in the House of Ballads. This is not a mortal concern. If Hallam learns I told you, he may see to it that I am banned from the telling. I am known as the Squire. It is my duty to assist the Chancellor of the House of Ballads in all of his many endeavors. Hallam treats me well, and it is an honor to serve. The mortals in Gorehart believe they have established a permanent settlement, but they are sadly mistaken. Those homes will crumble. Those graves will multiply. Trees may be cut down, vines stripped away, but the forest will return, and it will not suffer the footsteps of men. Neither will the Fae. The storyteller leads us all in the telling of the great songs of the Summer Court. He administers our house and serves our great knights in the Court of Enchantments. Only the greatest heroes of the summer may be counted among the Court of Enchantments. Gwenson, Belmaid, Ferrara, Olaine, Aermer, and Creth. Their glory unites all Fae in a common narrative. It is one of the few things our people share. The House of Ballads is home to the Court of Enchantments, where our heroes congregate and train before performing the feats that made them legends. There are 3 main structures on the grounds. The Court of Enchantments itself features the Wall of Saga, which depicts the most noteworthy songs in our canon. The Hall of Accolades is where the finest Fae crafters offer their services. Trainers can be found in the Summer Sanctuary, where we go in seeking enlightenment. He was one of our most beloved knights, a ballad's treasure. I can't bear to think of him dead, now across the sea. A warrior for our savage cousins in the Winter Court. I did not fear them in previous seasons. They were our allies, as important to us as the autumn is to spring. But the Tuatha have upset the balance. This new breed of mad fae has seized the Court of Winter in its grip. There can only be a summer and a winter. There is no other third order if we crave balance. I will be
Hello?
Listen, all of you. As you've clearly heard, a rare vacancy has occurred in the House of Ballads. There has been an event, a great twist in the narrative of our kind. Sir Sagril has fallen. Sagril, slayer of Ozigan, defender of the crown of Haxi, has been defeated. A death in the House of Ballads gives an opportunity, a chance for one hero to join the ranks of the greatest champions in fae-telling. Olain, Creth, Wenson the Bold. Do any of you, have the courage to pass the confirmation? If you do, your adventures will be sung to the heavens for all eternity.
Mundane don't belong in fae houses.
a mortal is a pledge.
Lionel, I assure you it's an ancient codex, just like in the tales.
Intriguing. And why would such a thing be revealed to a child of dust?
And here I was beginning to think that you'd never show up. This is Lionel, Lore Master of the House of Ballads. Give the codex over to him, and he may have your answers. Lore Master Lionel has devoted centuries to the study of lore and ancient fae stories. The codex you found isn't just any lore stone. Just talk to him, and I'm sure he'll be able to shed some light on the issue. I'm a woman of many talents, and we're all taught that we must use our talents for the greatest good, right? The Codex of Fate is no simple lore stone. It's more subtle and complex than any mortal could comprehend. But a lore master of ballads may be able to interpret it. For a long time, they were content to keep to their play of the summer and winter courts. Now we fight Gadflow and the Tuatha for our very existence. A close friend once told me, strive to be whatever you want to be. Fate might be a lie, but if it isn't, then worrying about it won't change a thing. None of us could have foreseen the rise of Gadflow and his army, but we should have, and now we're all facing the price. Lionel's one of the greatest balladeers amongst the Fae, and the most learned lore master you'll find outside of Issa. And as it happens, he owes me a favor. The Fae do not have a written language, so their tales are their lifeblood, their history, and their future all in one. The House of Ballads is where they enshrine these legends and celebrate them, time and again. The Summer Court, or the Seelie Fae if you prefer, embody the growth and energy of nature, but they can still be as aloof and uncaring as a brutal summer day. The current High King of the Fae is Titarian, the wisest of the Summer Court. While Gadflow has undermined the Winter Court, he tries to keep their cycle in balance. You haven't been around much, have you? The Tuatha have been pressing west from their home in Alabastra. Right now, they're only threatening my people. But if we fall, the Tuatha will turn their eyes to the other mortal races. Titarian isn't quite what you'd expect from the High King of Summer. But he hasn't got the arrogance of his cousins, or their cheer. Ever since Gadflow killed the High King of Winter and started the war, Titarian has become distant and melancholy, and blind to the dangers around him. The Tuatha are a radical sect of Fae within the Winter Court, led by Gadflow and his insane rants about their new god. They've taken power and declared war on mortals. They use raw prismia to enhance their power, and their devotion borders on madness. But the most terrifying thing to the Fae is simply the fact that their siblings have changed so completely. The Winter Court, or the Unseelie, embrace the destruction and decay of nature. They aren't evil, but they aren't exactly the best of friends. Normally they share power peacefully with the Summer Court. But since the Tuatha have seized power, there is neither peace nor predictability. Be on your way.
Come closer. You must be Lady Shear's friend. She speaks very highly of you. An occasion rare enough to be worth recording in its own right. But let's see this codex. Oh, nothing. This is no mere lawstone, you know. The Codex of Destiny is distilled knowledge from the High King of the Fae, given to the first Fate Weavers. To have such knowledge in your hands is a tremendous gift, but why did it reveal itself to you? Nonsense. All children of dust have a story that is written before you see your first dawn. Now, I can only make out some parts, but this is odd. The Codex speaks of an exception, a void, an end to the endless. This is simply too much. The High King would never pawn such absurdity off as wisdom. I'm sure you think it is. I fear you must have been taken in by a forgery. A perfectly created one, perhaps, but a forgery nonetheless. But this codex speaks of impossible things, changes to fate, death of the immortals, and other heresies. To ascribe these lies to the High King would be... I'm sorry, but I must ask you to take it away. I will have no part in these lies. Is there a meaning to it? Only its author can tell you. All of us in the Western Feylands are subjects of High King Tatarian. Our presence maintains the natural balance, bringing the green of spring at winter's end. We are the story that is told in every age, with different words, but the same meanings. We are the blazing summer and the brooding winter, forever following one another. We are, as we have always been and shall ever be, no more and no less. He is an offense to our people. He upsets the natural order, and his war breaks the cycle. I will speak no more of him. As antiquarian, I'm keenly aware of the lesser ballads in Fey telling, and do my best to ensure that they're not lost in the wide river of time. I'm keeper of the Echo Stone here in the House of Ballads. It has only come to us recently, but I find its purpose most fascinating. It is a new relic crafted by several of our most attuned Fey mages. Usually the notion of new repels me, but in this case, I can't help but feel a spark of curiosity. The Echo Stone can be used like a lore stone to experience past narratives, stories that have long since left the lips of their tellers. However, one can only use the Echo Stone if he has the right matching care, a magical key devised by Hallam the White himself. The role of the storyteller is the most important to the Fae in the Court of Summer. He watches the telling as it unfolds. His gaze is not on one ballad, but all of them. His wisdom is above us all, even the lords and ladies of the House of Ballads. The High King guides us in all the grand telling of the Fae. For you, tales are naught but a reminder of your inevitable decline. But for the Fae, our tales are eternal reminders of our truest selves. Here we celebrate the very heart of our kind. The greatest of our tales, reborn and relived. Every creature has its story. The wake it leaves behind in its travel. That is a telling. It is a narrative of defeats and victories that give every life meaning. Our Fae telling goes on from creation deep into the hidden end. Until then, we celebrate the small songs, the ones that celebrate the spring in which we find ourselves. Do not bother me with such foolishness again.
Lionel spends his life cherishing old stories, but show him something truly new, and he dismisses it. Tragic. No, I bet my blades that it's real. Lionel may be a very learned scholar, but it's been ages since he had to learn anything new. Most Fae don't take well to new ideas. If this old fool thinks the High King would never have written the Codex, then it's all the more important that the High King see it. It will be difficult. His court is in the city of Issa. Very few mortals are permitted in its gardens. I do know one individual who can grant you permission to enter, but you'll have to meet him alone. Nerulem is a private person, and he carries a grudge against me, although perhaps person isn't the right word for him, nor is him. You'll find him in southeast Dalantoth, at Caer Nerulem. Just head towards the giant tree, and, well, you'll see. You'll have to meet him on your own. I'd accompany you, but Nerulem and I have our disagreements. That codex isn't just a complicated lore stone. It seems to tell a tale most Fae don't want to hear, and created by High King Titarian himself, no less. Interesting. Nerulem is the oldest living mortal. He remembers the time before even the Fae called these lands home. You should see how they cherish him. He rarely grants an audience to visitors. His tenders say he knows the future as well as the past. It makes him very particular about what he says. We've known for a long time that Prismere crystals allow us to store and focus magical power. The gnomes use it in their grander inventions, when they can get it. But we have no idea how Gadflow got a hold of so much of it. It makes his Tuatha the most dangerous army I've ever seen. Good luck with Nerulem, and ignore anything he says about me.
I can feel your pain. Welcome to the Summer Sanctuary, where the seeds of knowledge are sown and nurtured. I see you are a stranger and a mortal. I am green, and I possess the healer's warmth. Do you have need of my services? Have you been injured in your mortal war? All of us at the House of Balance live to serve Wenson and the court. They are the lords and ladies of tradition, embodiments of Fae glory. Without them, we are nothing. If you ask me, our kind should be moving east to aid the Alpha. We are part of a bigger world now. The telling has changed. We cannot ignore what you call the future. For our kind, healing is simply a matter of asking our bodies to mend themselves. For one like you, it's more complicated. I don't know how you lasted this long. I do what I can. Most of the time, it's not enough. I've learned much from the dying races. Life is precious. Our kind often forget that. Goodbye. King Wenson has been absent from the house for many moons. This is quite extraordinary. Mortals, always looking for trouble.
day. How can I help you? You are the mortal I've been hearing about. How dare they say you're meek? Why, to me, you look as fierce as a troll. The songs of the House of Ballads are not simply stories. They are part of the magic that unites us all, summer and winter alike. They move through us like the seasons. There are some who believe our time of glory is on the decline, that our ballads will fade into mortal history like whispers. I say, never underestimate a good story. I can help you with any gems or shards. Speak to them on your behalf. It isn't as hard as you might think. Unless they're stubborn, of course. My telling is not one of battle and bravery, but of binding. I served Wenson himself back when the great ballads were new. We did not sing them then. We lived them. Goodbye.
They say the Maid of Windermere wields some new magic. New? What does that even mean? What?